Round two, game two tonight in the Eastern Conference between the Pacers and Knicks. One NBA game for Wednesday night goes at 8 o'clock Eastern on TNT National TV, and I'm going to break it down in full detailed analysis. We're going to look at the side, total, player props, let you know how to make some money tonight in this Pacers-Knicks game two coming up free for you in just a moment. Hi, this is Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com, right back here on WagerTalk TV, and I'm breaking down the solo game tonight. We're getting to the heart of the second round here. They're going to space the schedule a lot more, and we get one primetime matchup tonight on Wednesday, May the 8th. It's at 8 o'clock Eastern on TNT, and it's game two, Pacers-Knicks. Knicks, of course, pulled out and won game one despite trailing by 6 at the half, actually overcoming a 9-point deficit. The Knicks still got it done. Some questionable officiating down the stretch. By the way, comment below. Let me know your thoughts on the kick ball. They review it, still got it wrong, and after the game they admit they got it wrong. Also questionable moving screen late in the game there. Anyway, the Villanova 3, as they're calling it, got it done there in the fourth quarter. Basically, DiVincenzo, Hart, and Brunson did all of the scoring. They had all but 4 of the fourth quarter points. All 3 of them, of course, played on the 2016 championship squad for Villanova. They were actually the number 1 overall seed in 17, did not get it done, got bumped in the second round, and then they won it in 18. Looking back on it, what a powerhouse stacked team that Villanova squad was. But the one year they didn't win it in that 3-year stretch was when they were actually the number 1 overall seed, because once again they lost to Wisconsin, I believe, that year in the round of 32. And once again, just shows the randomness of the one-and-done scenarios. And it's something I've been talking a lot about in these videos here the last several weeks, that the March Madness NCAA tournament is tricky because 3-point variance can make such a difference in one game to the other. Whereas the NBA playoffs, we have a 7-game series, and the cream usually rises to the top. Now, I do think this is a very competitive series overall. Looking at the box score of Game 1, as I mentioned, Indiana led by 9. Knicks never led by more than 8. Indiana had a +6 edge, points in the paint down low. Really could have won that game outright. They also were -3 from three-point range, and they lost by 4. So it was a pretty even matchup. Knicks had 7 more free throws, and they got to the line 7 times more, made 7 more. That was the difference at home. So we'll see if they get some more officiating calls here in Game 2, or, as is often the case, the league tries to even things out. I do think Indiana, even though they're the road team, might get some whistles here, so we might want to look at some player props for that reason. But one guy I think we have to be careful with is Halliburton, and he is once again on the injury report listed as questionable, lower back spasms. He played Game 1, but he didn't do much. Only took 6 shot attempts, only made 2 of them, only had 6 points, had 8 assists. But keep in mind, he had over 20 points and assists in some of the regular season matchups against the Knicks. So he is obviously not 100% healthy. I do expect him to go, but the beauty of the player props is if he plays a single second rather, it's action. So I think we have to look at his points under, once again, Tyrese Halliburton. Now look, Indiana is in a bounce-back spot here, and that would normally be favorable for their star player. But just digging deeper into these numbers here, his total for the last 6 playoff games, every playoff game against Milwaukee was 19.5, 17.5, or 18.5. And in every one of those games, he has had 18 or less in 6 of the 7 playoff games, and he had only 6 points in Game 1 the other night on Monday. His point total has now been bumped down a bit to 16.5, but once again, he has gone under this total now in 5 of the 7 playoff games. Well, actually 4 of the 7, but he's had 17 and 18 in the others. So he's only had more than 18 points once in 7 games, 17 and 16 in another. If he is not fully healthy, Halliburton player props under are probably the way to look. His points and assist prop is 25.5. He only had 14 in Game 1, and that's why I'm saying I think he's injured. He had 17 points and assists in Game 1 against Milwaukee. Then he had 24, 34, 28, 22, and 27, and then just 14, going well under 27.5 in Game 1. I don't think he's fully healthy. I expect him to go, but we got to be careful with Halliburton. And when he was out of the lineup this year, they did struggle because he's not just a scorer. He's really an assist man, the best assist man in the NBA this season. With that said, though, Game 1 still soared over the total with 238 points. We had a strong client best bet at WagerTalk.com in Game 1 on the over 217. As I mentioned in the videos, it was a huge discount from the regular season matchups. These teams played back on December 30th. The total was 248, and they got to 266. Played twice in February, 235 and 237, and they got to 214 and 236. Total was only 217 for Game 1. They got to 238. However, my mathematical rescoring model had it right at 217, and that's because both teams shot lights out from the field, especially three-point range. New York and Indiana 54 and 52% overall. Knicks 48% 85% from the line, 48% from three. Pacers 38.5, 79% from the line. Pretty much their season average. The difference is Indiana defense was not there, but that's not a shock because Indiana has been suspect on defense. And one thing I forgot to mention in the Game 1 videos, this is a real contrast to styles. Knicks are the slowest paced team, the slowest possession team in the NBA this season. Indiana is one of the fastest, ranking as high as second in many pace and possession categories. But as we saw in the regular season, Indiana was able to speed the game up. And they didn't necessarily speed the game up in Game 1 because once again, my pace rescore came out to about 217. But both teams shot lights out. So New York has played faster, less defense against Indiana. So it'll be interesting to see if that continues. Odds makers have inflated this Game 2 total quite a bit, though. It's now sitting 221.5, and one of the sharper books out there already has 222. As far as the side in this game, Indiana opened as a 5.5-point favorite. It's been bet down now to 4.5, and that's because, ding ding, red flag alert, Pacers are a public underdog in this game. Been trying to give you consensus data whenever I see it, and we don't always see it with just a handful of games each day. But the metrics I'm looking at, the Indiana Pacers are a public underdog here in Game number 2 tonight with their backs against the wall. But keep in mind, they're a bit of a public dog in Game 1. They lost but covered. They were a 6-point dog. They lost but covered, and the public is coming right back with them here in Game 2. As far as the total, not much public sentiment one way or the other on that one. All right, let's see. Let's look at some other player props while we can here. Just a quick reminder, if you're finding these videos useful, do me a couple favors. Comment below and let me know. I read all the comments. I reply back. If you want to see these daily NBA videos, let me know. I've done every playoff game every day so far this postseason, and I will keep it coming. Let me know if you like the graphics or if you like the natural background here. We've been mixing it up, as you see, over the past week, trying to add a lot of graphics, stats, data's on the screen. The trade-off, though, is it takes a little bit longer to get the video up. So would you prefer early in the morning and no data, no stats, and just get this info out with the natural background? Or do you want maybe a couple hours to get the production team doing their magic and some stats and player props, angles, photos, other things like that? Hey, let me know your thoughts. Or option C, it doesn't matter. I like the video either way. But yeah, comment below. We read the comments. I reply back, and we do take the suggestions seriously as we want to make this product better each and every day. Thumbs up, like also. That goes a long way to keeping it free here on WagerTalk TV. Don't forget, if you haven't joined the subscriber base, join the 151,000 members of our family here on WagerTalk TV. And click the bell as well so you know instantly when this video is up every morning. Instant alert when you click that bell when you hit subscribe. All right, let's look at some more player props here. As I mentioned, I'd be careful with Halliburton just because I don't think he's healthy. So other guys are going to have to pick up the slack. Siakam, I mentioned, he did not play in the December game against the Knicks. He was still in Toronto. They picked him up in February. He did have 6 assists along with Halliburton in the game the other night. And that's a situation in which I think he will continue. Actually, I'm sorry, Halliburton had 8 assists. Siakam only had 5 assists. But he is a guy that I think is going to be very important, especially with Halliburton injured. He went under his point total for the fifth straight game, which is surprising because the first 2 games against Milwaukee, he had overs, 36 and 37 points, and everyone got all excited. He has had 19 points or less in each of the last 5 games. He has stayed under his point total, but they were all 26.5 to 23.5. Game 1 was only 20.5. He got to 19. Now it's around 20, so it keeps dropping lower. If Halliburton's not 100%, I think Siakam could have some upside. He was 18 for 16 shooting, but only took 3 threes. If he takes more threes, I think he'll get there. Another guy, Miles Turner, was another guy that got over his point total in Game 1 after a bad Game 6 against Milwaukee, which was 5 points. He did bounce back. We talked about him in the video the other day. I thought he was a good candidate to bounce back, and he did with 23 points, over 17.5. His point total, though, once again, it's 17.5. Now, he was 8 for 16 shooting, but just 2 for 6 from three-point range. So if he takes more threes, there's some upside there maybe again. And once again, a lot of this is based on the fact Pacers like to play fast. They have been able to force their tempo against New York. And once again, Halliburton does not look fully healthy. The concern, though, is he's the assist man, and that could hurt some of the scoring for these other Indiana players. All right, the New York side of the ball, once again, the Villanova big 3 was really all that you had to look at. Hart had 24 points. He's just been a monster in the playoffs with additional minutes. He played 48 minutes. He played every single minute of the game. Did not come out. 48 minutes. Hard to play unders when a guy's playing 48 minutes, and he got to 24 points. That follows 3 lackluster games of just 4, 18, and 16. He had gone over the other 2 with 13.5 and 14.5. Now his point total is 16.5. It's the highest it's been in the playoffs. I think he actually might regress here. If you're looking for a guy to regress, Josh Hart is probably the candidate after 3 straight overs, and he has gone over 6 of the 7 playoff games, but every total was 14.5 or less. Now it's 16.5. I look for Hart maybe to come back down to earth a little bit here. Now, he is playing more minutes. The 10 points per game average is very misleading because he's playing more than he did early in the season. And, of course, he played 48 minutes on Monday. It's impossible to play more in regulation. But I still think it's getting a little pricey, especially if they regress tonight after the win. And, by the way, he was 9 for 13 shooting, 1 for 1 from 3. Can't shoot much better than that. He still only got to 24. Dante DiVincenzo, as I mentioned, 25 points, 10 for 17. But we got to talk about Brunson. Jalen Brunson, I've been saying it for 2 seasons now. Those of you that watch the NBA Tip-Off Show, watch my videos, know I've been preaching that he's the most underrated superstar in the NBA. Well, it's not a surprise anymore. It's not a secret anymore. And I always say Julius Randle's the most overrated superstar. But Brunson had his 4th straight 40-point game. He only was 14 for 26 shooting, only 1 for 4 from the three-point line, but he was 14 for 14 from the free throw line. He had 43 points. They can't stop his quickness. They can't help but foul him. 4th straight game with 40 points or more. And keep in mind, 5 games ago, Game 3 against Philly, he had 39. So after going under in games 1 and 2 against Philly, he has now gone over 5 straight, 39 or more in 5 straight, 40 or more in 4 straight. He's only the 4th NBA playoff player in history to do 4 straight playoff games with 40 or more. Guess who the other 3 are? Michael Jordan, Jerry West, and hey, what? I was going to say comment below, see if you can guess. Hey, guess to yourself right now. Let me know in the comments below if you get it right. Michael Jordan, Jerry West, and another New York Knick, Bernard King. I would not have guessed Bernard King. He's the other one. Jordan, Bernard King, and Jerry West, the only other 3 now with Brunson to have 40 straight in 4 playoff games. Do we look for him to regress? Well, let's look at how this point total has progressed. As I mentioned, games 1 and 2, he went under against Philly. 31.5 points, he stayed under. Game 3 was 30.5. He got 39. Then 31.5, 33.5, 32.5, 36.5 in Game 1 the other night, and now it's 37. So they bumped it a little bit, but not too much. Can Brunson have 5 straight 40-point games? He could. This might be the time to fade him, though. If there's ever a time to fade him, it would be now. The problem, though, is that he's taking so many shot attempts. Once again, he was actually not a great shooting night. 14 for 26, 1 for 4 from 3, and he still got to 43 points. So I would lean under with Brunson, but I'm in no hurry to play that because, once again, I don't like fading superstars on each team. And Brunson, as I've said for 2 years, the most underrated superstar in the NBA. Now I can take the word underrated off. He's just a superstar, and I think everyone has seen it in this playoffs. Hey, comment below. What player props are you looking at tonight? Maybe some under-the-radar guys. OG Anunoby, he had 14 shot attempts, got to 13 points. Really important on the defensive side, though, so I'm not as bullish on him offensively for that reason. Hartenstein, 5 for 9, 13 points. Only took 1 3, though. He could regress a bit. His point total is at 11.5. It had not been higher than 9.5 in any game this season. Now it's 11.5 because he's had 13 and 14 back-to-back games. But keep in mind, he had 14 back-to-back games against Philly in games 2 and 3, and then he followed up with just 8 and 6. So I do think Isaiah Hartenstein could be worth a look to the under 11.5 points here in game 2. Let me know what other player props you're looking at. Side total, what are your thoughts? Comment below. I read all the comments. I reply back. Include some analysis if you have the time. Let's learn and earn and win together here on WagerTalk TV. Don't forget, if you want my official best bets for the NBA and Major League Baseball each and every day, visit my page, Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com. And don't forget about the daily free plays. I post a free play every day on my page as well to help you build your bankroll with analysis. And now's a great time to get the rest of the NBA playoffs. It's the lowest price of the season, less than $4 a day. No promo code needed. Go to the right side on my page. You'll see basketball to the drop-down menu and select the rest of the NBA season for a drop load, the lowest price of the season. Or if you want all sports, I highly recommend multiple different packages. We have a special for baseball only. If you're already on board for the NBA, I know many of you already have the NBA playoff special. If you want to get the rest of it, it's available still for a special price. But you can add baseball also through the All-Star break for a discounted price. That's on the main page. No promo code needed. Or if you want all sports, including football for the next year, college and pro football, college and pro basketball, Major League Baseball, every sport, every day and night for the next 365 days and nights for just $3 a day. That works out to just over $1 a play, but you got to use promo code SM365. Go to the right-hand side, select the All Sports drop-down to the 1-year 365 package, and enter promo code SM365 at checkout for an instant $800 discount. Works out to just $3 a day, just $1 a play for a full year of All Sports All Access. Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com. Get there quicker with shortcut WT www.buzz.sm. Follow me on Twitter and X as well at Steve Merril, 2 R's, 1 L, at Steve Merril on Twitter and X. And don't forget to also post free plays throughout the week on Instagram. Follow me on IG along with WagerTalk. Subscribe, hit the bell for instant alerts, thumbs up, and comment below. And I'll be back soon here on WagerTalk TV each and every day of the NBA playoffs, analyzing each and every game all the way through the finals. In the meantime, stay tuned right here to WagerTalk TV for some more great baseball and basketball content coming up next. I will be on Wager Talk today at noon Eastern Wednesday, and also MLB First Pitch at 2 p.m. Eastern Wednesday, live, taking your questions in the chat. And then also you can watch the archive 24/7 here on Wager Talk TV. Best of luck tonight. I'll talk to you again soon.